Hi guys, so today we're going to talk about the Move 9. The Move 9 were a group of 9 individuals who were a part of the Move movement, or are. Some of them have unfortunately passed away. But the Move 9 were a group of 9 individuals who, part of the Move movement, who were wrongly convicted of the unaliving of a police officer from an event that happened in 1978. We're going to discuss what happened. I'm going to play you some clips to show what happened and what led up to that event. This is during the time that Frank Rizzo was still acting mayor of Philadelphia. So at this time, if you go back and watch the last clip, we introduced Frank Rizzo to the scene. As we discussed, he absolutely did not like anything to do with Black activism or Black voices for that matter, or Black people. He was praised by the Krispy Kreme Club, as you would say, for his extremism. He definitely promoted police brutality against marginalized communities. So he saw the MOVE organization as a threat. He, well, not so much as a threat, but as an inconvenience, and he made them seem as though they were a threat, even though they were not. So from our last clip, and trigger warning, before I see this next part, the Philadelphia PD had already gone extreme with their police brutality to the point that they had caused 3 move women to lose, have pregnancy loss, as well as 1 mother lost an actual infant because they beat her while she was holding her infant and unalived that infant in the process. So the police brutality is already skyrocketed. At this point, the MOVE members' response was to bear arms. So this is around 1977, where they are only doing this to protect themselves as well as their children at this point, because their children are now also targeted. In response to this, the police department, the Philadelphia PD, as well as Frank Rizzo, decided that they needed to amp up. So you'll see in this next clip that they staged a whole campaign of 15 months of doing a stakeout that provided nothing. When they were asked to move, they finally did give in to the demands of the city council to move, and Frank Rizzo overrated that and cut off food supply, anything that he could. And then you'll see eventually what happened. So the Move 9, like I said, were wrongly convicted. We will get into the evidence part of this after the clips. So let's go ahead and get into this clip, and then we'll talk about it.
As Mamia Abu-Jamal reported, non-MOVE eyewitnesses saw police club Janine while she clutched her infant baby. In response to these vicious attacks, MOVE grew increasingly militant, upholding the philosophy of self-defense. But Rizzo and his gang weren't satisfied with random beatings. They didn't want an organized group of empowered Black radicals that could criticize the police and fight back against their abuse to exist at all. For the good of the empire, all of COINTELPRO's hard work had to be honored. In 1977, escalating attacks led to members brandishing guns outside their home, declaring, "We will no longer be beaten and intimidated by police." 24-hour surveillance and positioning of attack squads and checkpoints surrounding the MOVE house began. But as the group remained defiant, the heavy-handed lockdown became an embarrassing 15-month quagmire for Rizzo.
The police will be in there to drag them out by the backs of their necks. They're going to be taken by force if they resist. No question about that. Children or not.
In March 1978, the police increased tensions by blockading food, water, and gas from the home and ordering journalists to leave the area. MOVE negotiated a deal with the city to move to a new location. But, as if Rizzo didn't want a peaceful resolution, he changed the terms of MOVE's deal with the city and obtained a rush warrant.
Now, I'm only interjecting here just to remind you to think about this. Frank Rizzo did not want a resolution. Because if he did, he would have worked with the city. The MOVE members would have moved peacefully. They were willing to work with the city. Frank Rizzo did not want a peaceful resolution. Frank Rizzo did not want to work with anybody. Frank Rizzo was looking for his ability to completely end the MOVE movement by any means necessary. They were not compliant. They were not listening to him. He did not want to see them as a functional movement anymore. And if they had been allowed to move, they would have still been able to be functional, and that was not okay with Frank Rizzo. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and play the next clip to show what happened, because Frank Rizzo was not satisfied with the end.
August 8, 1978, the attack began. Knowing there were many children inside, police started bulldozing the home, while the fire department shot water cannons. They were flanked by hundreds of police officers with assault rifles.
Gunfire.
Eventually, there was a barrage of gunfire. Philadelphia police say their shooting was set off by shots coming from the house. But several witnesses assert the first shots were directed at the house, including 2 reporters at the scene. Cops testified they unloaded their assault rifles into the MOVE basement, where they could hear women and children crying. In the unhinged flurry of bullets, Officer James Ramp was shot and killed. And in the face of certain death, MOVE surrendered. When unarmed Delbert Africa came out, the Philadelphia police showed everything you need to know about their claims of upholding the law that day.
Okay, so I did cut that last clip short because I could not, per TikTok guidelines, show you what that full clip showed. Again, I leave the title of that YouTube video up if you want to go ahead and check it out. There are other documentaries that you can go ahead and watch. Delbert Africa was the victim in that police brutality who received the most amount of police brutality from what happened with MOVE 9. His eye socket was shattered, his ribs were broken, his jaw was dislocated. They repeatedly beat him, stomped on him. After they arrested the MOVE 9 and got them out, they then unleashed an immense amount of brutality on the neighbors of the MOVE 9 members within the community of the Pelverton village in Philadelphia. And I think it was to send a message. If you are friends with the MOVE movement, you also will receive the same treatment.
See, they over there smiling and that there.
See how they smiling? Yeah. You see how they smiling?
I mean, I feel that, they mad or what went down and they not satisfied or just, getting the move. They want like all the people, like not only this community, but the whole community, like in the black community. It's a hatred that they have and the mentality for, black people.
The MOVE house was completely demolished the same day. Community protests denounced the police attack. Despite no evidence that the bullet came from the house, 9 MOVE members were convicted for the shooting, all given 30 to 100-year prison sentences. Temple University professor who documented the incident, Lynn Washington, stated, "The police department knows who killed Officer Ramp. It was another police officer. They have fairly substantial evidence that it was a mistake. I got this from a number of different sources in the police department." Protests eventually forced the indictment of the 3 officers for the infamous beating of Delbert Africa. Police hatred of MOVE peaked.
And the head of the police union gave his thoughts on those who beat Delbert Africa.
What they should have done is shot that goddamn bum, and then there would have been no trouble today.
All 3 cops were acquitted, but MOVE didn't stop speaking out.